Welcome to another episode of What's Working in E-commerce. I'm Egan from Caravan Digital. Today, I'm excited to have on Avi Kumar from KUWARE, and also recently acquired a white label PPC agency called Invisible PPC. Avi, welcome.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, tell us a bit about e-commerce and how you got into this whole digital marketing thing.
Certainly, KUWARE has been doing digital marketing we started 14 years back. In fact, we started with e-commerce, then we moved away for a few years in between for SEO and all. Initially, we started just doing shopping carts, and 14 years back, it was Zencart and those kind of shopping carts. We started with those and optimizing, and then we moved away for SEO and started becoming full service agency. But then last 4 or 5 years, we have come back to as e-commerce has become a bigger part. So instead of just keeping it as a small section, we just started focusing a lot more on the e-commerce part. And now we have evolved to basically not just kind of managing the store or doing the build of the store, but actually managing the strategy and the complete aspect of the e-commerce for our brands.
Yeah, I think you mentioned to me earlier that you're working with a number of smaller brands and they may need, all channels, everything from you guys. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. So that's our ideal clients are the clients who say, okay, we got a product, it's selling reasonably well, but now what do we do? Do we add more products, more service, more different kind of products, and which all channels we go to? So we are able to bring the complete strategy that if you are only on Amazon, if you need to go to shopping cart, and if you are, how to bring it back more, increase the margins there, or then if do we want to start doing a wholesale, if you already have Shopify Plus or Shopify, you want to go to a wholesale model now, and you want to add that. So those are the great, we are perfect partners in those situations because we are able to guide and build and implement those strategies for our clients.
That's great to hear. So tell me a little bit about fractional CMOs and when should brand owners think about bringing in a fractional CMO?
Certainly. So the fractional CMO came about when the brands, when we started working with them, they were asking questions which were not about just doing one service or the other. They were asking questions which were across multiple marketing, just not the channels, but marketing activities which need to be taken. So they wanted to know, should we do this or not? Somebody's managing my email, is that right? And here I'm doing these ads, should I be doing this? So that point we kind of recognized, and this happened like now 5 years back, we realized that what they're asking is they either do not have a CMO level executive in-house because they just reached a stage where they should be thinking about it. Or some cases we found somebody, they have CMO level, but they were a big business in other area. Now they are coming to e-commerce and they don't understand the e-commerce part. So their CMO does not understand the online selling part, even though they are great brick and mortar and doing extremely well there. So in both cases, we said, okay, what if you had a fractional basis, a executive level person helping you with those decisions, either because you don't have anybody in house or you have somebody but this specific skill is not there yet. So that's where we started offering the fractional CMO model, and it has done really well for us, and it's become actually almost a default now with anybody when we work with clients, that they like the idea that, hey, somebody's going to guide the strategy, but then not only guide the strategy, but it's the same house who will actually go and implement the strategy. So if we recommend a strategy, if it is not working, they can just blame us, right? Hey, KUWARE came up with a strategy. Why is it not working? You guys implement it. So there's no finger pointing or anything anymore. So that adds this additional value of like a complete one place to help them completely. And then as things progress, they could decide to hire their own CMO. And in that situation, we'll help them interview and find the right CMO, and they can just move on from there, and we just become a support role. And some of our businesses have done that. They've grown big enough, they want everything in-house. Others, they just continue with us. I mean, we have clients for now 5 years, some who have continued with that fractional model. That's great. We don't want to build this in-house anymore.
Gotcha. I like what you highlight there. Sometimes people are really good at one channel or they're really thinking about one channel and when they want to expand to multiple, then they need to start thinking strategically of how do these play together? And that's where, a chief marketing officer or a fractional chief marketing officer comes in. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then sometimes it could be what we call a brand extension. that they're selling some line of products, and then they say, okay, what else could we be selling? And that's usually a question cannot be answered by existing team because they're just used to optimizing for what they sell. So outsider can come in, hey, there are these ancillary things markets which you can get into. They're close enough to you. We can research and find out what is the possibilities and what is the affinity of same audience. If there's affinity audience, your audience might be, example, if somebody who's been buying more COVID masks, they probably are interested in clean air as well, right? So there are those kind of things you could do and start.
I see. Look at cross-sell opportunities and things like that.
Yeah.
How do brand owners and business owners vet marketing partners when maybe they're not an expert in all aspects of digital marketing themselves?
Certainly. So this answer might surprise a lot of people because usually people expect, oh, are these marketing questions I can ask them? So the answer is actually no. Instead of trying to test a marketing savvy, it's better to test their business savvy. So a marketing partner who can talk your business language and understand your business will eventually deliver better on marketing, because end of the day marketing is an extension of the business. So some partners will come and say, hey, we work with this technology, we have done this, we have we can develop in this, and we can do ads on Facebook, we can do ads on this, and that's great, but you're just talking marketing. You want somebody who comes in and starts seeing why your product sells, why it doesn't sell, what can be done more about it, where in fact even the what I will call is the product marketing is, can the product definition or product can be enhanced or added. They need to be able to think like that. Once they start thinking like that, and the ones who talk to you when they meet you talk like that, then I think they make a better partners. In fact, the line we use is that if we want to get in a business with somebody helping them with marketing, we want to know so much about their business that we can create a competing company. When we know how to create a competing company which will beat them in their business, then we are a good partner. I mean, we have no plans to do that, and it can feel like, hey, why do you want to know my margins, my suppliers, and everything? We do want to know all that because then we have a better picture, right? Like if I just ask them, hey, can you do 30% discount? I cannot ask for 30% discount on a promotion if I don't know the cost structure. If I know the cost structure, then I can guide them, reduce the cost structure. If we do 50%, it'll really do well. So let's work on the cost structure. Of course, we will not work on the cost structure, but at least we can guide them. So again, going back, see how much interest they take in your business instead of talking about their marketing technology. So that would be the way to test it. So that makes it a little easier actually for business owners. You don't have to know about the marketing that much. See if they can really tell you back about your business after talking to you or after researching you guys.
Part of what that reminds me of is what's sometimes called the 4 Ps of marketing. It's not just promotion, it's price, it's product, it's place, it's promotion. It's all those pieces. And it sounds like you're thinking, hey, not just let's run an ad on Facebook, but how else do we need to be thinking? How do we sell more to these people? Where are these people hanging out? It's really that strategic piece, and that's what a CMO does.
Absolutely. So that, yeah, as a CMO, they should look at, hey, if this line by just changing the fabric a little bit without impacting the design can be done, and we have actually done that. Do the study and ask them, hey, can you source a different fabric a little bit for this? And then your price will drop, you'll have more margin, then you can promote better. Right now, of course, we will not source the fabric ourselves. They have to do it. But by knowing that level of understanding the product, that level, we can really help.
Do you ever run into resistance from clients or prospects where they don't want to share that much in terms of down to the margin level? How do you talk them through that about why you need to know that as a marketer?
So the one of the things I tell them is that your marketing spend has to depend on what is your margin. Why? Because otherwise you're going to start losing money. So and what is the basis of you deciding how much you spend and what is the cost of acquisition and all? So that function that comes from your net margin. So you really need to come back with a net margin. Or if you're not comfortable sharing, then you will tell me exactly this is the maximum I can spend. So you might not be spending enough, or you might be spending too much sometimes to acquire. That's one. Other one is what I call capacity. So we always ask the capacity question. If we do double you, because that's what our CMOs try to do in 18 months, double, triple, can you handle it? And if not, you don't need us. Just kind of a little bit more advertising, and you can keep growing at your slow rate, right? And but if you really were looking at to somebody like us to come in, and we want to really make a big difference, and then if you cannot handle it, don't spend that money because you'll break the system. Basically, your operations are not ready for it.
Yeah, and I found at least maybe it's the the usually the men that I'm working with who are the brand owners. They've kind of got a swagger and they say, "Oh yeah, we can handle it. We can do whatever." Is there any way that you push back and vet a little bit and say, "Could you really, double in 18 months?" How do you gauge whether they're really able to scale?
So we do ask them actually. Okay, so we say, okay, you can handle if we double, we can handle. So you can. So we ask them, you can. So are you sourcing the product? You're getting it made in China. Okay, so you can get that shipped fast enough, double. Yes. Then your support can do it. I mean, how many support calls do you get? If and then they start saying, oh yeah, our support, yeah, right, they're already complaining. So okay, so you can't double really. You're not ready for that. So you need to at least have a system in place that by adding so many resources, I can do it. Be aware, start thinking in those terms. So that's how we talk about. And then inventory. If you whatever is the percentage inventory you're keeping, you'll need money for that. Now, do you have resources for that? To are you going to run out of things? So we start asking very specific questions after they say we can, and then they and it does two things. They kind of realize that we are serious, we want to understand the business, and then they start sharing and answering those questions instead of trying to. We are not in a hurry to close. In fact, our thing is we will not want to close if we have had situations they want to sign in the first meeting. We don't want to sign any client in first meeting. We tell them that you need to go back and research a little bit more. We need to go back, even though you feel you're ready. We need to know a few more things. It seems everything is great, but we don't want to rush through because there are questions we'll have after we go back. And in long run, and we are selfish here. Basically, I want a long-term client. I don't want a client who, after 2-3 months, they just cannot work with us, cannot handle what we are pushing their way. So we are just vetting also, because long-term is, as anybody running a business knows that, man, it's so much cheaper to keep a client than keep going after a new client.
Uh-huh. So you want to make sure you bring on those right fit clients and you vet them first. That's great. On the margins piece, I want to ask you a little bit too. In the industry, people use maybe CPA, cost per acquisition. They use ROAS, return on investment. But what I'm hearing you say is ROAS isn't the whole story. What's the real ROI? Do you guys have a metric that's a level below that to say, was this a profitable first sale with a new customer?
So one easy way to look at it is that without going even in metrics is that, say, if you're a very aggressive growth company, then just take your net margin per product and that net margin and just multiply that by 80%. So keep 20% buffer. And this is for a high growth company. You say rest of all your net margin, you should keep spending on ads, on marketing and all to grow. That's available per. So if a product you're making it is like you sell it for $100, there's $20 margin. You should be able to spend $18 of that all day long to grow. This is for high growth company which is in high growth. Basically, we are saying is that anything you make, you should be willing to almost spend all of it. If you're high growth, then it goes down. Oh, I'm not. I want to keep some money. I have things to pay extra. And this is net margin, by the way, after covering all costs. That's the only number we care about.
This is on their profit and loss sheet. What's your bottom line? You're saying take 80% of that, plow it back into the business. That's how you grow.
Yeah, if it's a high growth business. Now, if they feel like we don't want that much growth, we want to take money out, then go to 30 or go to 50% or 60%. And that way you're guaranteed you're never losing money, and every activity you're doing is growing, is going towards growth. Right? So that's yeah, so we look at it that way instead of looking at the ad spend. Then we look at the ad spend as a composite. And we also, other thing we emphasize is when you do ad spend, also consider your agency cost, because there'll be consulting cost and all. So we include all that. So our cost per acquisition calculation actually includes everything spent on us or anything, any videos made and everything. Overall, what was it actual cost? So that way we never have a situation where, oh, we're losing money because of this marketing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I like that. So I'm guessing clients sometimes ask you, what should our budget be? How much should we spend on marketing? It sounds like you then ask them, how aggressive do you want to be about growth? And then we need to talk bottom line. What are your profits? And let's set a percent of those profits plowed back into growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, of course, if there's a VC funded and other companies we have run into is they have a very different situation. They say, oh, we have the money, just kind of do it. It's great, but usually there is a higher chance of failing when you have extra money. That's the way I look at it. Because then, even though we are a marketing agency, we will also experiment with things which are high risk, right? If the money is available. But instead, if you have this constraint that you got to make money, then we'll extract. So it's fun to have a lot of money, but the constraints is even more fun because within that constraint, you got to still make money.
Yeah, the bootstrappers have to be profitable right from the get-go, right? I'm very curious. Is there, if you're ramping up with a new client, do you talk them through, here's how many weeks or months or whatever this is going to take to see results? How do you have that conversation? Because I know that's hard for many, especially smaller brand owners that, okay, I just hired this agency. It's the first month, we're still not there yet. And they're thinking, do I pull the plug? How do you talk them through that and just make sure that, like you said, they're in for the long haul?
Yeah, absolutely. So we what we tell them is, even though we want them for long haul, if we don't show them the indicators or any agency doesn't show the trends within 4 weeks time, there is a problem. Because we cannot even we hold ourselves very responsible for this, like, hey, we are setting up things, it'll take time, but that setup should start showing some trends, that where is it going, and definitely by 6 weeks things should start happening. On the other hand, if they're doing actual ads and the money is being spent, it shouldn't take no more than 2 weeks to know. But if we have not started spending money yet, we're just setting things up, should be trends, there should be improvements happening, there should be CRO should have improved their conversion and things like that in 4 to 6 weeks. Otherwise, I would start questioning that, is this agency going in the right direction? Of course, the big things will come after 2 to 3 months, but they should see some trends. So we show them that here are the trends, and the trends cannot be just marketing numbers. They got to be something which will impact their bottom line. They start seeing there is a value there. If you see that, then it's going right.
So there's some sales, but not necessarily we're at profitable return on ad spend yet. That could take 3 months or more.
Yeah.
How does a brand owner know when they're ready to outsource their marketing?
I think so. This is self-serving because we're a marketing agency. It seems like that, but there is this is Drucker's principle that a business should do only two things: innovation and marketing. Everything else is overhead, right? So the way I look at it is that, hey, you focus on innovation and product, and somebody else do the marketing. And I believe this can be done even with very large companies. The reason is this: if you are not keeping it separate, then there is a tendency to let it pass. As a marketing, I will not let a substandard product pass. I'm going to question it. The reason it's not selling, people are hating it. Go and fix it. Go and fix it. But if everything is in house, you just kind of keep working with it, right? So the answer your question is that when should they think about outsourcing? So to me, once they have a product, which enough people, they feel like people do like it, there are sales and there are some people willing to buy it, that's the time to start thinking about outsourcing marketing. If you have zero sales, you have not figured out the product, don't talk to marketing yet. Because maybe product marketing, that's more of a product development thing. Like if you want to still your developing phase, because marketing needs to come in when you do have a product, so we do get clients who say, oh, we did this, nobody's buying, we have 50,000 inventory. I said, man, how many did you sell? Like 3. Really, there is a different problem. I don't think I can solve it, because why nobody likes this product, there's something wrong, right? So they need to figure that out. Once that is figured out, I think either get in-house a very good team or outsource it, because now you got to really focus on marketing at that point.
Yeah, there needs to be some indication of product market fit. You don't go to an agency necessarily as you're launching a new product trying to get that fit, unless that's what the ad agency does.
Yeah, some agencies just focus on that. Yeah, product development. That's different. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Can I ask you a bit about conversion rate? This is always a hot topic of, with people are buying traffic and traffic's getting more expensive, how do people get more sales with the traffic they have at their site?
Yeah, so the conversion rate is, especially in e-commerce, is very, very important, because you can really, for the same ad spend, double or triples at times what you're selling if you do it when you do it right. The challenge with conversion rate always has been that, what do you test? And I saw one of the podcasts on your thing was, I don't remember her name. She was talking about user testing. And we absolutely recommend that CRO should not be done without user testing as part of the game. Because as a CRO company, we will have a list of 30 things to test for sure. And some, just because of experience, like, he can tell you that this is has to be tested. One very interesting one is everybody wants to be community focused. They want to say, we give 1% or 5% to community. Most cases when we test it, that thing doesn't test very well. That's not high on people's mind when they're buying the product. It sounds great, but that's not the reason they buy. That's a secondary or, tertiary thing for them to consider. And it's usually, this is one of those where they will not even believe us. It has to be tested to tell them. Don't put this the first thing on top that we give to charity. Usually, I mean, there might be some situations, and I cannot say this, hey, across the board. Some businesses probably it applies much more. So the challenge with CRO is, if you go with experienced company, they will have a list. They'll do a pretty good job, but you got to think business. So this goes back to, again, the ideas come from actually understanding business more than understanding marketing. That, hey, this product, why would they want to buy? They need it for this. Where is the problem possibly? Oh, you want to upsell this with this, but this doesn't go very well with this probably, right? So it's a little bit of a thinking, then let's test it, right? So that user testing can sometimes help that part, right? Get the ideas, new ideas beyond the list. And then, I mean, CRO is absolutely a must for any e-commerce company to improve, the return on the money they've been spending on ads.
Yeah, that's great. That episode was Quinn Zeta from Conversion Crimes. And yeah, you can get actual users testing your site, develop some hypotheses before you even do an A/B test, figure out what do we need to look at. That's great advice. All right. Well, Avi, tell us a little bit about, who you guys work with for each of your brands, and who's a good fit with, to work with you, and how can they find you?
So we work with direct to consumer is the big one for us, and the other place is some brick and mortars who decide now to go e-commerce. We have had a lot of success with that. That, hey, very established business has never sold it on e-commerce, and in those situations we also go as a partner where we say, we'll take care of all e-commerce for you for a portion of the sales online. You don't have to even pay extra. So that's like it becomes no risk. If it fails, it fails, and for us too, right? We don't make money on that. So those are really good. And other direct D2C new brands, of course, they're absolutely fine. VC funded ones are okay too. Those are usually a shorter engagement, 6 to 9 months. Then we move on for that. So any packaged goods is absolutely, we have done quite a lot of work in that area. So quite a varied e-commerce. And when I say e-commerce, I'm talking about much more consumer goods is what we have done more so than sales of courses, etc. So that's not something which we have done too much of.
That sounds good. And this is KUWARE. This is KUWARE.com, right?
That is correct.
Tell us a bit about your new white label agency as well.
Yes, yeah. So this is something just acquired in November, and and we've really been focused on. We want to kind of double or triple it by end of the year, because KUWARE, that's how we do it for other companies in e-commerce and other areas. So that's same approach when we took this company over. It's a pure play company. It only works with agency for doing Google ads for them, and only Google ads, nothing else. We have been asked quite a lot, do SEO, do his Facebook, but we have said no, we do just Google ads and specialize in it. The part which is very fascinating about the company, and that's why I was interested and I purchased it, is all the areas this company works in, it can tell the agencies in advance what will be the cost of acquisition, which usually is hard even for e-commerce. It takes a while, right, to figure out what will work and what will cost. Here, because they work with known niches and have been around for 10 years, have spent $165 million of ad spend to collect data. So it can be very amazing. So it's like, you are a chiropractor or you are a HVAC, you're a local business, they are able to give exactly what will be the cost of acquisition. As a marketer, that is a extremely powerful tool to engage a customer. Be able to say, hey, for this much per lead, guaranteed we can get this. And it's purely white label PPC only, no, nothing else. So it's a interesting, different business, a little bit more organized. Things don't change, same thing, we keep improving. Versus KUWARE, everything is new every time. Every customer is approached as like, oh, brand new, let's figure this out, all over again kind of a thing.
All right. And that's at invisibleppc.com, right?
That is correct.
All right. Sounds good. Avi, anything else I should ask about or anything else you want to share?
No, this has been great. You did get into some things which excite me about CRO and the business part of it of things, and so certainly appreciate that going in that direction instead of just going pure technical marketing, which I can talk all day long.
All right. Well, we'll have you back on. We'll talk Google Ads next time. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much, Avi. Thank you for sharing what's working in e-commerce.
All right, thank you.